on to our guest speaker. I'm excited about our guest speaker. I have the luxury and the pleasure of working with him like I do many of you on a day-to-day basis. I've had the pleasure of working with him for quite a few years now. And you've heard David Lloyd on calls in the past. You've seen his production, very, very consistent in terms of his production. Been around the business for quite some time. And I don't mean to date him or make him seem as if he's old, because he's not. But I do want to throw out there to everybody that David, you've heard on calls before. He's always done a great job just, keeping it real with you, giving you facts, no sugarcoating, but always has informative, good information that just, is straightforward. There's no sugarcoating around it. So with that being said, we're excited to have him on the call today, and he's going to talk about a subject that, it's not really mechanical meat and potato sales items in terms of how do you present with the client. Normally I would ask him, hey, let's talk about the presentation. Let's talk about fact finding in the home. Let's talk about how you door knock at a whole other level than most people. I normally would do that with David, but David contacted me, and he had a great message that we had talked about that I was fired up about, which is, we're only as good as our state of mind. So if you're on this call right now and you're listening in and you've had you've been going through those peaks and valleys that this business will present, David's got a great message today that I'm fired up about, and I don't want to take any other time away from him. So David, the floor is yours, my man. Are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can, loud and clear. Thanks for taking the time and jumping on the call today.
All right, good. So I would start off by saying is that if you're on the call today, then you're probably headed in the right direction, because you're looking for improvement, and you're looking for better attitudes and something to help you be better at this business. So when we talk about we're only as good as our state of mind, when I called Chase, our attitude as agents about leads and how that can affect us, for good or for bad, and so often I think we don't realize how spoiled we are by EFES and by the lead program that they have. And I've been doing this probably about 25 years roughly, and I've worked a lot in the Medicare supplement business and long-term care over the years, and now the final expense. And the one thing that I think that sometimes we forget or we don't appreciate enough, and that's the lead system that they have for us, and that they constantly have a continuous flow of people for us to get in front of. And, throughout the years, I remember when I was first started in this business, I was 26 years old and went to work for Mutual of Omaha as a career agent. And I remember being so dang shy that I was scared of my own shadow. I mean, I had that personality of, let people walk all over me. And in fact, my wife used to get mad at me about it, Probably a few of us, that's probably happened over the years. But, as I got into this business and went to work, I was out, I worked in the health insurance market, and Mutual of Omaha was real big at selling health insurance mostly to self-employed people. And so when we'd go out and we'd get a few leads, but, not like what we do today, but we'd get a few leads, but mostly, we stuck 25 business cards in our pocket, and, we went out and knocked doors, and, whether we'd try and look for people that were self-employed or, different things like that. But, when you talked to 25 people that day, well, your day was over, and we knew that it was a numbers game, but it was, and if we had a bad attitude, you go out and knock doors with no leads. Let me tell you something. If you got a bad attitude, you're probably shot before you get started, because, that's some hard work. And so there's a lot of days that we go out today and we don't appreciate that little piece of paper we have in our hand that so-and-so sent in telling us that they'd like us to come see them. And so I thought about that, and I think, all the times that we get leads, and how often do we get a lead and it's a P.O. box, or we get a lead and, there's nothing on it. There's no way to get a hold of them, or, whatever the case may be. Or maybe we got a lead and we get that lead and all of a sudden we look at it and we're like, boy, that looks familiar. We go back looking through our old leads, and dang, that's the third or fourth lead I got on this person. And so it's real easy sometimes when you don't have the correct attitude to be negative about your leads. And I think a lot of times what happens is that you can get so negative about one or two leads out of your 20 that you've shot yourself in the foot on going and working the other, 17 or 18 that you're not upset about. So it's about attitude. It's about, doing the things that we do, but having a good attitude. One of the things that I always like, I worked I worked for Bankers Life for a few years as a branch manager with them, and we used to do, a lot of you have probably participated throughout the years in what bankers would call a phone clinic, okay? And so they'd have everybody in the office and everybody would just be dialing just off of a list. And that's another area, where if you don't have a good attitude, but this is what I learned from that. And as I went and started doing phone calls, I learned that, even on the phone, whether you meet somebody in person or whether you call them on the phone, the most important thing is that you smile. And so I can't tell you how many times before I pick up the phone or when I'm walking up to the door or when I'm knocking on the door that I'm making myself smile, because that's how important it is. And I laugh sometimes because I'll look in the glass door of the screen door and you can see yourself, and I'll put on a big old smile that's fake at the moment, but it gets me in that mode of smiling and being presentable to people and being happy about what I'm there doing. And so a lot of it's about attitude, and I think as we look at the leads that we get, or another thing, I know a lot of us in Texas, and I'm sure across the United States, but I know in Texas, a lot of us, our territories are very spread out. I have a county that I go work, and it's 4 hours away. I got another county that I go work, and it's 5 hours away. And then, most of the counties that I work most of them are at least about 2 hours away, hour and a half to 2 hours. And so it would be real easy to develop that bad attitude because I'm having to go travel all the time or do this or do that. And so, it's important time to listen to positive things and to get on these calls and to hear uplifting, people that are trying to help us be uplifted. The attitude that we go, our state of mind that we go out there, every day with is the most important thing that we have, because if we go out there and I'll put it this way, I know a lot of times most of us that are, married, and we go out working, and this is a very mental business. It's about your attitude. And so if I get in some type of little, argument or something like that with my wife or something, which doesn't happen very often, but sometimes it happens, and when it does, I'm pretty much shot for the day, because my mental, it's hard to fake it, when you're upset about something. It's hard to go out and knock doors and fake it. And so it's important to try and be in a positive attitude. And some of the things that I was looking at, some of the different quotes about attitude, and I think one of the things that I saw was, in our lives, 10% it depends on 10% of what happens to us and 90% how we react to it. And that kind of goes along with what I'm talking about. If you're disgruntled with leads or something this or something that, it's real easy, about how you address that problem. Or do you let things fester and get, pissed off and upset, or do you call Chase and say, Chase, hey, I need to work on my territory because some things aren't going right and I need to change things up a little bit. Or, but you have to address it. It's the lead program is the best thing that we got going. And so I think I try to impress upon people that there's not too many companies out there that are willing to take the risk of putting leads out there and putting mail out there for us and then allowing us to buy it back by the lead. So it takes that risk away of what the return's going to be. We don't have to pay for that out of our pocket. We pay, if we got on a different lead program and you're paying $450 to mail out 1,000 pieces, and you get a 0.5% return back and get 5 leads, you're not going to be very happy. So a lot of times I think we take for granted what we have with EFES. There's not a lot of places that are going to put those leads out for you and incur the cost and then allow you to buy it back by the lead. And so that's the most important thing that we have in this business to stay alive, is the way to get in front of people. And they provide that to us on a consistent basis every single week. It just so happens that sometimes when we as we're doing our work in our leads and we get a little excess build up, and so they might not put mail out, waiting for us to work, what we have in there. And the timing isn't always right. And so it was funny, it was kind of ironic that I was talking about attitude and leads, this week, because this week, really kind of in between places of getting leads in, I really didn't have a lot of stuff to pull from. And so this week I'm out just working old leads. I didn't take anything because the things that were in for me were pretty spread out over, a couple counties and well spread out. I think there was like 14 leads in a county in 9 different towns. So you can see how spread out that is. And so I decided to wait for more to come in to fill in the gaps and just work old stuff. Well, it'd be real easy to get a bad attitude, but and yesterday morning when I was getting ready to take off, and I was trying to debate on where to go and what to do, and my kids are recently all out of the house, and so my wife has been working with me a lot, and so yesterday morning she jumped out of bed and we were talking, and usually she's not one to be so quick out of bed, but she said, we got to go, we got to get out of here and do something today, we got to make money, And I appreciated that inspiration, because I really didn't feel that way yesterday. I was like, dang, where am I going to go? And kind of stressed out about what I was going to do. And so I grabbed a stack of old leads and we took off to Texarkana and we ended up, making $500. So, I mean, it's about what we put into it and our attitude. And so I can't stress enough the gratefulness that I have towards EFES of putting the leads out there and giving us a consistent, continual stream of people to get in front of. A couple of other quotes that I wanted to talk about. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And that has a lot to do with your attitude and your willingness to go out and work hard. A lot of times when we start in this business, we don't have the sales skills and the closing skills that a lot of people have. And so we have to substitute that for hard work. And we have to be willing to go in and put in the time of whatever it takes to be successful and to get in front of those people. Another thing that I thought was good was you can't expect to succeed if you only put in work on the days you feel like it. Okay, that'd be real easy to do in this business because, we're kind of our own boss. We can get up and go, or we can sit at the house, no matter what you feel like. But if we didn't get out and beat on doors and talk to people every day we didn't feel like it, we wouldn't be very successful, do we? So a lot of times we kind of have to start out with that fake smile if we don't feel like it, and we got to get in front of people, and we have to be willing to just be kind and serve others. And when I knock on that first door and I get to talk to somebody, and then my heart warms up because I love people and I love what I do. And so when I get out and start to meet people and get out of that that crusty, I don't feel like doing nothing, and put on a smile and go talk to people, as soon as we do that, it's like that with anything in life. As soon as we begin to serve others, we forget about our own negativity and our own things, and we go and we try and we feel better. We get energy to go and do our day. And a lot of days, it's that last lead, like I'll give you an example. Last week Friday, I was just kind of following up on leads that I had for the week, and I was in Texarkana working, and I had pretty much exhausted everything, and I still had a blank going for the day, and I was like, boy, I can't have a blank, I just can't stand it. And so then I go and we're knocking, and I pretty much exhausted everything, and I had a couple leads in a little town that were about 20 minutes away, and I was going to just say it just started to downpour Friday afternoon, and it was been real easy just to head to the house and said, okay, I've had enough. I'm done. It's raining like crazy. I've had enough. I'm headed to the house. I stopped at those two little houses and in the little town down the road, and sure enough, I was able to pull out about a $45 sale. And so but it was the attitude of not quitting and continuing on. And so getting that last door. And a lot of times, I think all of us have experienced that. A lot of times it's about that last effort you put forth is the one that brings in the money. It's being willing to serve and to get out and work and to work hard and do it with a good attitude. And when you do that, good things happen. Somebody used to tell me, the harder you work, the luckier you get, and that's very true. The more time you put in, the luckier you get. It's just that's kind of the way it works. Those of you on the call that we're talking about service, and those of you that are on the call that are in leadership positions or that maybe aspire to be in leadership positions, I saw a quote this morning I thought was really good, and it says, if serving is below you, then leadership is beyond you. And I think that was really good. We have to be willing to help others and to serve, and to, whether it's agents that need help and new in the business, or old agents that need motivating, that just I have a couple buddies, and they've been in this business actually longer than I have, and they're trying to get rolling and get things going. But a lot of times we lose that edge when we don't go out and knock doors, and we get lazy and we don't do those things. It's real easy to lose that edge a little bit. And so then we lose that courage that it takes to get out and knock that first door. And so the couple guys that I know that have been in this business, 30 years, they struggle a lot to have that initiative to get out the door and to go knock that first door, because they've got out of that practice of doing it every day. And so I would encourage people to, get out and work and have a positive attitude and, have a positive attitude about your leads. It's nothing but a name and a number. You're going to go knock on their door, or you're going to call, or, if you call them and you don't get through to them, go beat on their door. Introduce yourself, smile, be happy, and change the perspective that you look at things, because when we're positive things will happen. There was one other thing that I wanted to talk about, and there was one little thing that I used to put, a couple things that I used to do that used to try and help my attitude. One was, I used to carry a silver dollar in my pocket every day, and always wanted to find an Ike silver dollar and carry it in my pocket, and that represented an app a day. That $1 in my pocket represented that I needed to get one app a day. If nothing else, I needed to make sure I got an app a day. Just a little positive influence thing in my pocket to carry that made me, remember that I need to not stop until I get, an app a day. The other thing is I used to put a little sign on my mirror in my car, and it says, if it's to be, it's up to me. And I think that's important. We can't, blame somebody else. We can't blame EFES. We can't blame, the companies that we have because they're not getting it done, or, I can't find this, or, whatever. If it's to happen, it's up to us to make it happen. And we have to remember that, and we have to keep positive attitude about it. So I love what I do, and I love getting out and meeting good people, and I love knocking doors, and I love that energy that comes from, having positive, things happen at the door. It just gives you that energy to go on to the next one. And we meet so many people, and I think, part of it is being kind and loving and serving others, even when you're in their home and the first time you meet them. If you're loving to them and kind to them, then it changes that whole atmosphere, and it changes your attitude about being there and serving. So just a great opportunity that we have, and I'm super thankful for EFES for, the work that they do and the things that they do to support us, but mostly the LEAD program that we have out there. And it's real easy to be negative if something's not going right, but just remember that they got the best thing going, and if they didn't, that you probably wouldn't be here. So be thankful for what we have and approach it with a positive perspective, and it will change the outcome. That's all I got, Chase.